Bum 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 bum
Drama.
bum. Ba-ba-da-ba, dun,
Action.
dun, 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 ba-dum, bam, bam,
Comedy.
ba-dum, tss, bum, ba-dun, dun, dun, dun,
Palace
dun, dun, dun,
intrigue.
dun, 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 dun,
Story
dun, bum, bum,
Squad
bum,
presents
dun,
Clash
dun,
of the
dun, 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 dun.
Pencils. All right. Good evening, folks. It's a windy, crisp fall night here in Milford, Delaware. We have some great heavyweight story matchups for you tonight, and we'll recap all the day's highlights of Clash of the Pencils action. Welcome to the Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. I'm your host, Tom Sherman. Alongside me today, we've got Greg the JPEG Peterson. Why do they call you the JPEG there, Greg?
It's like all my life, just images. Pinterest, Instagram, just JPEGs. I don't even have 3 dimensions, just two. Tom?
Wow. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Right you are. So we're here, as we are every night, to review the top 3 Clash of the Pencil submissions from around the net, get the latest scores, and see who's atop the leaderboard. We field anywhere from 0s to 10s of submissions daily, which then get run through our high-tech computer StoryBot 3000, which uses, among other things, that look in your eye when you see a rainbow for the first time to analyze every story. We then take StoryBot's top 3 stories and let you, the public, determine tonight's winner. So without any further ado, you ready to pinch and zoom in on some stories here, JPEG?
Let's do it. Let's double click.
Right. Oh, we're double clicking hard. And first thing to note, we did get 6 submissions in tonight, and 2 of them actually got disqualified.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, we had a stirring story from G-Man as well as Joanne Brislin, but unfortunately both were typed. And, yeah,
Type.
that is
The
against the rules,
goal.
folks.
The goal.
Can't be typing that up today. We use handwriting, pencils and papers, folks. You better get off that computer if you're trying to play Clash of the Pencils. All right. Also, to note, G-Man's got a double disqualification because of a potential copyright violation. Our legal team flagged. He continuously referenced Captain Underpants in his story, which, as you might recall, is a classic Dave Pilkey novel, The Adventures of Captain Underpants. So got flagged by the legal team and unfortunately disqualified for a second time. That's the first double DQ in Clash of the Pencils history.
Might be a suspension in order for your old G-Man there. Commissioner's coming down heavy.
Yeah, we'll have to get a statement from the commissioner. None's come out from the league office yet as of this broadcast. So we will keep you posted if there's any late breaking news on that. But with that, we do have 3 top-notch entries. StoryBot had a lot of fun putting together the videos today. So I think you're going to like it. Let's start off with we also had a couple newcomers gracing the leaderboard. This first one coming from a user named Pensylvester. Lewis went into the forbidden forest and never came out again. Here's the story. There was a voice from deep inside the woods. Here, kitty, kitty, I have free dinner. Come on. And the cats came from 20,080 miles away. Adam and Mr. Murphy had a plan. They were going to come out into the middle of the forest and catch the cats. There was one cat who tried with all his might, day after day and month after month. This cat found Adam and Mr. Murphy with all the cat dinners. They fed Lewis and noticed his worn-out collar with a faded name that said Lewis. And they said, why does he have such an old collar if he's 4 months old? They dug up a collar from ancient times, and it was very good. They lived months after months and years after years until one day a mouse came and said, No, there's a kitty cat. Don't eat me. And Lewis, since he was a talking cat, said, I won't hurt any more mice. I was taught not to eat any mice, so I'm not going to eat you, and we can become friends. The mouse said, "You're going to eat me for sure." And Lewis answered, "No, I'm not." The mouse asked, "What's my name?" And Adam said, "Your name is Greg Murphyson." One day a monster came, and it was screaming and terrifying everyone at the top of his lungs. After years and years of fighting, the mouse said, "May we be friends?" And the monster answered, "Yes." Wow. An epic trilogy, really, coming from newcomer Pencilvester. What's your immediate takeaway there, Greg?
Pencilvester's associative imagination is far beyond anything in the adult world. Superpower being flexed there. The change of all the scenes and characters, boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot to grapple with here. What about you?
Yeah, that was epic. I mean, they drew us in with Lewis the cat, right? But in the end, the last two stories were really focused on this mouse, Greg Murphyson, which I mean, I thought it was very relatable how the mouse was completely skeptical of the cat and saying, "Yeah, no, like we're friends, like yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to eat you. I'm a cat. I'm a talking cat. I'm not going to eat you. Like you got to trust a talking cat, But the mouse was skeptical, and then the mouse used the same tactics that it grew, it learned. And then when the monster came, it said, like, after a couple years, it was like, you know what, like, me living with this cat has taught that I can live with a monster, so like why can't I be friends with another monster? You know what I mean? It was pretty poetic.
Wait, shout out to the mouse, just as a little detail, for fighting years and years plural with the monster. That
right.
That's I would not. That's a pretty imposing mouse. I wouldn't want to mess with.
Right. Well, that's why it was an epic trilogy. Is it was months and months and years between Lewis becoming a house cat for Adam and Mr. Murphy, and the mouse even showing up. So here let's take this to the board. See if we can chart this out. For those of you at home that don't know, this is called the Sussex County Dorito, or Sussex County S'more, excuse me. And here in Sussex County, Delaware, there's a treat by the campfire where if you take a nacho cheese Dorito and you melt a couple marshmallows on top of it, put another nacho cheese Dorito on top, and you eat that, it's pretty good. I know it sounds crazy, but anyways.
It does sound crazy.
It does sound crazy, but you can take that to the bank, folks. So what we've got here is we've got 3 marshmallows that we're going to plop down on our Sussex County S'more. And one represents the plot, one represents the characters, one represents the setting. And we'll see, just how well these marshmallows fit on this Dorito. So where do you want to start? I mean, let's start with the characters, I guess.
A lot of characters, By the way, Adam and Mr. Murphy just dropped in there. They have all the cat dinners in this forest.
Yeah.
Really want to know some backstory there. Very intrigued by those characters. Then
they had a plan. So they had a plan. They were going to do something with all those cats.
But that was not the story. That was not the story. That was the next episode. They just kind of intersected and then went. I thought that I was very interested in Lewis. The mouse. You're right. The instincts, the kind of the game theory, the wiliness of anticipating the intentions of saying that the cat was good and then not really trusting him. I thought that showed a very rounded character, even though it was such a little blip of a character. So I'll give it. Yeah, I like there. Right, kind of in the midpoint.
Yeah, it's pretty good. How about the plot? I mean, I know we had almost 3 different plots. So, what's your thought on that?
Well, I love the framing. It started right with like the Lewis went into the Forbidden Forest and never came out again. Here's the story, and then it just goes, and it's gonna spin off in a million different ways. The plot, I want to give it. I don't know if this is a setting or a plot situation, but there's some really interesting things happening with time and space.
Mhm.
Cats are coming into this enchanted forest from 20,080 miles away. So
That's a long way away, folks.
that's like the circumference of the globe-ish. I'm not sure
Yeah.
exactly, but it's a most of the surface area of the Earth. Every cat was coming and descending on this forest for Adam and Mr. Murphy's plan with the dinners. It was kind of interesting also that we go back in time. The other line that gave me a lot of they dug up a collar from ancient times and it was very good. And it said, Lewis, is Lewis immortal? This begs the question. Is Lewis immortal and able to traverse vast? It's like all of space and all of time. Lewis is kind of an entity that's permanent. So that was, I was a little confused, but intrigued. It kind of worked. I have no idea what it is saying. This plot left me a little befuddled, and I have no idea how to evaluate it. What do your instincts say?
Yeah, it's a tough one because it really it left more questions unanswered than wrapping anything up, and so I feel like there's probably a part 4 and a part 5 out there that would answer a lot of these questions, and because of those plot holes, I think it's on the edge. It's on the edge of the middle, but it's like I enjoyed the ambition of it, of taking one page and saying, "Hey, I'm not just going to give you one story. I'm going to give you 3 epic tales.
I'm going to give you a world. I'm going to just give you a world.
Just really wild. Built it." But and same sort of deal with the setting too, where it was probably a little bit closer into the center than the plot was, just because it had some key details in there, but it still left me wanting a little bit more. And you know what? I think I'm gonna bump the characters up. It was such a strongly driven character story that it really the plot and the setting kind of got left in the dust in favor of like this magical cat, these 24,000, and for the folks at home, the circumference of the Earth is 24,850 miles. So there was only a very small landmass that these cats weren't coming from.
So like 84% of the surface area of the world was drawing these cats to Mr. Murphy and Adam's dinners. It was interesting also, the last point I want to make on this, that Lewis still was a predator looking for like wild prey, but he learned not to eat mice, probably because of all these dinners that were part of this. So it was like there was a weird kind of domestication / wild hunting tension that was built. I was very interested by this. All right, so how does this work? Do we want a big triangle for the surface area?
We're looking for as small of a triangle as possible. We want to get all those marshmallows on the center of the Dorito, so that when you squish the other Dorito down, they just kind of mush out to the edge, but they don't get too sloppy. If the marshmallows are too far apart, then you're gonna have marshmallows and cheese all over your hands.
Really torturing this metaphor, aren't we?
I'm telling you, you got to try it. Try it. All right. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. We'll go for this one. So we actually, Storybot 3000 was having a little bit of a issue yesterday, and still had some crossed wires coming in. We all do that when we come in after work the day after being sick. So there were multiple prompts out there. This is a different prompt than the Enchanted Forest. This is a math test in 2020, 2,221. All right, so just be fair warned. Pop this quiz, Mrs. Hoffman. Bad enough my variant has been prepping me for my upcoming transformation to childbearing opportunities. The horror, the bloodshed. My thembling has been stealing my makeup to wear for football practice. Now a math quiz out of their purse? Unfair. These rules don't even make sense. Why is Y even in it? Who let X be a thing? These problems are going to take me like 10 minutes to look up in my head screen. My arms are going to be bruised before I'm through not doing it. I'm done. What's it even the point? By the time I get through high school, this will all be standard with the next software upgrade anyways. Variants just put us here so these features get a pay upload. What am I learning here? How to research? How to use the head screen and arm controls? Checking to make sure there are no lags in my spinal network? I know Gimpy Googleson had to get a new microchip implanted last year. They said it sometimes happens, but I think they were watching too many gnarly videos and got an infection. Look at all these nerds, pounding away on their arms, scratching, swiping, poking, pointing, rapidly darting their eyes through pages of formulas, equations, studies, tips, and articles in their head screens. You'll get the update in 3 years, dorks. Literally wasting your time. 10 minutes till arm scans. Don't forget to show your metadata. It's not enough to have the right image. Need your artifacts too, so we know how you got there, Mrs. Hoffman said, raspily, delicately, pregnant with low expectations. I guess I'll start. Absence of God, this is so stupid. I whipped up a little bathtub math, a pinch of Pythagorean boom, and some sprinkles of geometropop. Absence of God, I got nothing out of this. Yes, them. Microchip still works. Yes, them. Still know how to read the head screen. Yes, the action on my arm can still play. Done. Took 9 minutes. Mrs. Hoffman suspects I've been zoning as I'm the last to walk up for my arm scan. I can tell by their eyes plotted betwixt the glasses on the point of their beak and forehead. What a sapien. 100 out of 100. A as usual. Great work, Dino Twitter bot. Keep this up and you'll be off to Harvard, no problem. Thank you, Thayum, I said politely. As I stepped into the hall, classmates trickling in and out of the toilet trophy room, others with their arms in their wall charging lock stations. We called them lockers. I checked my head screen for the day. Venus 2. Mandarin next. Feels like early spring. No time for revolution. Wow. What a story. So, what are your, my initial thought is, honestly, sounds like a lot like high school. I was right back there.
2020, 21, 20. Yeah. All the same. I feel like my week's going to be before I heard that story and after as I reflect on it.
It is one of those stories, isn't it? That you're going to think about it tomorrow and you're going to be like, ugh,
yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Get a shiver down your spinal neural network. Yeah. So let's just go right to the Dorito. Let's go right to this some more. So the character, it was a character driven, only one person besides the teacher, and then the faceless masses. Kind of like a train of thought, but still a strong character. I feel like I was in their head as they were taking this pop quiz. They struggling through, teenage angst, high school problems. I don't know. I would rest it right on top of this almost like, it's almost right in there.
It was strangely recognizable. Definitely shout out to the author for an incredible, explosion of language that was both recognizable and utterly horrifying at the same time, which is a kind of a sweet spot to hit. I thought with the pop this quiz, Mrs. Hoffman, instantly drawn into the story. Love opening lines. That was a very, very strong hook. These rules don't even make sense. You're just telling us how to read it. You're just telling us how to read the story. In a lot of ways, it had the freewheelingness of the last story, but instead of across space and time, it was very much in this sort of future dystopia. It's like a kind of a Black Mirror meets Samuel Beckett meets Ready Player One mashup.
I enjoyed the disdain that the student had for their peers using their arms and just
Yeah.
like judging,
Yeah.
just like being like, come on, guys, we're all hooked into the computers. Like, what are we doing? Like we're just going through the motions. I thought that was a very interesting point of view from that student. I feel like I've seen that before. The brooding, sort of smarter than everybody else, but also kind of a slacker, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And yeah,
That's the timeless piece, like questioning
Yeah.
why bother, the futility of knowledge, like the kind of hollow praise of getting an A+. Great work, Dino Twitter bot. There was some line about the sapien as a
Yeah.
put down. That was just that was exquisite.
Beautiful.
I really love that.
Yeah. I also enjoyed the teacher pregnant with low expectation. That was
Oh, yeah.
that was
Well,
a
I mean, it was recognized like all the archetypes from like 150 years ago still apply, even though
Right.
we're like updating the software. Like we don't need to learn anything. It'll just be on a chip.
And I also enjoyed the surname Googleson has become apparent because somebody, you know what I mean? Like, just like all of our names are old trade names and all that, like somebody's now been like, oh, that's one of the Google family. You know what I mean? And it's become this Gimli Googleson, and he messed up his brain chip, or maybe that's just what happens sometimes is you get a new chip. So
yeah, the wordplay. I'm impressed that Storybot 3000 was able to evaluate this wordplay, this futuristic wordplay. It almost makes me wonder what Storybot would have thought about this. The fact that it's in the top 3 means there's some sort of recognition, right? It's if stories are ability to walk around in someone else's shoes, is this like Storybots? What it feels like to be Storybot 3000?
And, we've seen Storybot before show some preference to computerized robotic characters and individuals. It has some sort of empathy that, I don't recognize. I don't really relate to androids and, the machines, but obviously there's a soft spot in Storybot's server somewhere. And, is it a bug? I don't know. Did the developers plan it there? That's what we need to figure out.
Yeah, it's the Philip K. Dick "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?" We're kind of right at that moment, right, or that nexus.
So let's talk about the setting real quick. There was a brief sort of settings about or descriptions of the school at the very end, but otherwise it was fairly conscious thought driven. And so I didn't really get
like the thoughts still tacked on to the set. It's like we didn't get settings, but we got Pythagorean boom. We got like recognizable things that were still there. They'd been twisted, which I felt like was a kind of what it feels like to be online as we approach this singularity metaverse kind of concept. So it's like the setting was channeled through these little pops of description. I felt like there was more setting than plot. The plot was just a rant.
Right. The plot is disgruntled, angst-ridden teen of sorts. And
yeah, if I feel like there would be no paragraphs, it would just be a long block of text, like a Lewis Black monologue or a Thomas Bernard novel.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the biggest really plot line was right there at the end when it was like felt like early spring, but there's no time for revolution. That's when you're like, wait, what's going on in that kid's? What are we doing here? Like it seemed like that's a ... To be continued sort of.
It reminded me a lot of the first one in a strange way. It's like we got both of those stories in one page gave us worlds. They didn't really give us stories, but they gave us really, really strange worlds that didn't quite make sense, and the brain wanted to like fill in the pieces, but those pieces were missing. There were gaps, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I think both of them suffered in plot.
Right.
I think it was more character and setting.
Very good. All right, so we're on to the last one. from a familiar face. The Doctor is in. So let's see what they have for us. Don't go in that enchanted forest, creaked the old man, living on the edge of the woods. Everyone who ventures in there is never seen again. Shut up, old man, the fearless brute said with scorn in his voice, and charged fearlessly into the dense leaf cover. The old man watched the quarry disappear into the darkness, sighed, then picked up his shotgun and quietly followed his prey.
Whoa!
Wow. That was a heavy hitter there, folks. What was that, like 5 sentences?
Short.
30 seconds?
Sweet.
Whew. The Doctor. That was so I mean that was so we had an old man. We had a young hero.
A brute, not a hero.
Brute.
A brute.
Right.
Those were some antisocial. We were getting antisocial signaling right off the bat. Shut up, old man. Instantly, I was like, okay, this is not the Harry Potter. This is the Draco character.
Right. Yeah, and fearlessly charging into the enchanted forest that he shouldn't be going in. So, really, what struck me is, like, at first you think the old man is the protagonist. You feel sorry for him. You know what I mean? He's being told to be shut up by this young punk, and then at the end it's like, oh, are we still rooting for the old man at the end, or are we, you know what I mean? Like, are we rooting for him because we think the punk is going to get what he deserves, and he's like, or is it now like, wait a minute, should we be rooting for the young punk, and like actually this old man might be the antagonist?
Tom, I'm going to say something radical. We're not rooting for anyone. There was no investment.
Wow.
Not enough sentences. I think we hit the limits. I think you need, in order to root for someone, you've got to see some vulnerability. You got to see some sort of, and the fact that we didn't get any of that vulnerability here. This felt like a myth. This felt like some sort of story that you tell your kids so they obey, because that punk is going to get what's coming to him. That much was certain.
It does have a Brothers Grimm sort of vibe to it, or of a fairy tale. There's a lesson. You're right. Yeah, that's it's a classic German fairy tale. It sounds like
with a shotgun update, but yes.
You know, yeah, it would be a long sword or something in the 1300s. So characters then they are fairly undeveloped, aren't they? It's
Think about the last two stories versus this one. I would put this way on the outer bed of the Dorito marshmallow.
I tend to agree, although I think that the succinct nature like really lends to a, like, there was a full story told there in like 5 sentences, which, you know, it might have lacked a lot of that depth in the of just descriptive words and language, but you did feel some sort of emotion of or a panoply of emotions over that short, you know what I mean? It was like an amuse bouche. It was just a power packed punch to the face of story flavor, even though there wasn't a lot of, like, it wasn't a full meal. I'm not full right now. I want more.
That's fair.
You know,
it had some kind of koan distillation, just the bare essentials.
Yeah, it
didn't change me. The other two kind of was like, whoa. It made me radically reconsider what's going on. Whereas this one, I kind of skimmed at that surface level with these black characters. Like, okay, all right. I don't know.
Right. Here's what I'm gonna. I think what it's just a like, I think it's a solid triangle maybe, but it's just not very close to the center. I mean, I think it was balanced for what it was in what it is, but it just didn't get there. It didn't get there like the like Pencilvesters, and it didn't get there like Slices, as far as, you know, just that final, I don't know, je ne sais quoi.
All right. Well, I'll be curious to see how the internet voted, whether they agreed with us or not. Because
Won't
everyone
we all?
says Twitter's collapsed the reading attention span down to however 280 characters. Maybe they
Really?
like the short but sweet.
Right. Well, that's the that story might have fit on a tweet. We won't know until I hit update leaderboard, which I just did. So let's take this in for a spin here. Wow, Slice on top.
Woo!
Boom. Followed by Sylvester and then the Doctor. That's very close to what you were just saying there, Greg. Joanne Brislin and Bim Drongo coming in a close second with 99 each. Wow. G-Man, Gavin P with 84, and then Champion coming up leading the rear with 24, along with To End the Piece and K Stew. So let's take a look at the weekly leaderboard, though, shall we?
Yeah, let's do some screen share action here. I can't see.
Oh,
anything. I'm
shoot.
blind. Just auditory. Trying to process.
Sorry, that is bad. That is bad TV, folks. Here we go. That was the daily leaderboard. We got Slice in there, Sylvester, the Doctor, Joanne Brislin. Over to the weekly. Wow, the Doctor. Oh, that's because yesterday we only got half of our submissions in. Don't worry. We'll doctor this up. So actually, the daily leaderboard is the weekly leaderboard right now. Slice out there with 180 points. So that's interesting. All right. Oh, you ready for we have one more feature that we're going to do for the folks these days. Top 5 sentences of the day.
Let's do it. This is like
all right. Boom. Top 5 sentences of the day. Number 5, coming from Sylvester. Adam and Mr. Murphy had a plan. They were going to come out in the middle of the forest and catch cats. That just hooks you. That makes you want to read more. I mean, what are they doing? Like, what is that plan for? Why are they out in the middle of the forest? And how are they going to catch these cats? So that's pretty good there. Number 4, coming in from G-Man. They heard the siren call of a party so alluring, no crew member could resist. That's a little Odysseus reference there.
Yeah.
I mean,
alluring.
Once you bust out Homer, that's, beautiful. Number 3, the Doctor. The old man watched the quarry disappear into the darkness, sighed, picked up his shotgun, and quietly followed his prey, turning the whole story into, frankly, a dark fairy tale of potentially German origins. Number 2 from Slice. I whipped up a little bathtub math, a pinch of I'm never going to say that word. A pinch of Pythagorean boom and some sprinkles of geometropop, really making future math sound a little interesting. I mean, it sounds a little bit like, I don't know.
It sounds to me like Clockwork Orange.
Right. Yeah. It sounds to me like if you walk into the wrong wrong backwoods shack in West Virginia in 2022, or 2222 or whenever, and you see people with bathtub math and Pythagorean boom and geometropop, you should probably hightail it out of there. I don't know. It seems. But the number 1 line of the day from Joanne Brislin. But for now, why don't you have one of these Polly Pockets and start trying to spell some words with me until we fall asleep beneath the stars? Anti-disestablishmentarianism, honorificabilitudinatibus, dermatoglyphics. Wow. It just seems so romantic. I mean, telling someone to have some candy and lay under the stars and spell words you can't pronounce. I mean, is there a better first date? All right. Well, with that, that's the show. I mean, for right now, we got to. Let me put this up on the screen. I made a little graphic for you guys. Send me some feedback. Tom at storysquad.education. I accept fan mail and hate mail. I don't really care. It's and then also this is our Discord server right down there. I'm sure there's a better way to display it. But you'll have to wait until tomorrow to see that. So I don't know. Anything else, Greg?
That'll do it. Good day of stories. Good day. Tomorrow.
Good
will be
day of
interesting.
stories.
See what
That's a
comes
fact.
tomorrow.
Oh, I forgot. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 big ones going up on the lamp, guys.
Wow.
Yeah. Whew. There's more where that came from tomorrow. Here on Story Squad. Clash of the Pencils. So until then, I'll see you out on the paper.